Welcome back to Warpaint TV. We're here with our very own Chief Insider, Nick Athan. Nick, how you doing today?
Good, buddy. How are you?
It's great to finally get to see you, man.
Yeah.
Hey, walking out of Arrowhead Stadium Sunday after the Chiefs-Browns game, you mentioned this in your article Sunday night after the game. It's no secret. Walking out of the stadium, Chiefs fans were angry. They were raging. They were said this team quit on Todd Haley with a running back that nobody at Arrowhead Stadium really heard of. I know some Browns fans heard of him. You know, runs for 286 yards at him. They feel this team quit on Todd Haley. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, clearly, it was an awful game to watch. I mean, I thought it would be a tough game for the Chiefs to win anyway. I just with the Browns having 10 days off and the Chiefs, losing 2 games at home already, now 3 in a row. They played terrible. Defensively, they were awful. Special teams, they were awful. You had secondary guys and defensive players who just let running backs and special team guys go run all over the field without even touching them. I mean, it's one thing for them to score touchdowns and to make plays, and you got to give the other team credit. But the fact that I think there were 4 touchdowns scored where these guys were basically untouched, which means nobody at the line of scrimmage, nobody in the secondary on the running plays and then special teams. They just didn't have the attitude. And right now this team just doesn't have any attitude. Offensively, they played pretty well. I think that was Matt Castle's best game as a Chief, and I think it shows that if you give the guy time, he can be successful. But there's so many other flaws in this football team right now. But that was just a microcosm of the season. I mean, to lose at home to the Cleveland Browns, arguably one of the worst teams in the National Football League, especially when you consider, Mike Holmgren rumors were going before the game, and obviously afterwards they named him team president, which means Mangini's probably on the way out, possibly. All those things factor in, and they still come in and they beat the Chiefs. And that just kind of shows you just how short in talent the team is in some areas and how flawed it is in the coaching.
When Marty Schottenheimer came to Kansas City in 1989, the first thing he said at his press conference is, the goal for the Kansas City Chiefs in 1989 is to be champions in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Todd Haley says a lot of his press conferences, and you even hear it from Scott Pioli, that, when we took over this team, we knew we had a lot of work to do. Do you feel that might be a mental that the Chiefs know that, hey, we're not that good, but we're trying, so they feel they've not been able to live up to their expectations?
The difference with Marty is he came from Cleveland and he did it. I mean, he got to the AFC Championship game, I think, twice, and they ended up losing the Broncos both times, if my memory serves me correctly. But Marty had street credentials. Todd Haley has no credentials as a head coach. Big difference. Marty can say it, and Todd Haley can say it, but it doesn't mean anything. And with Scott Pioli, well, nobody knows because he rarely talks unless he's at WFAN in New York. He doesn't really talk to the media. Now, he did talk last week in the local media, but again, he's not saying much. I mean, here's the problem that just bothers me about the entire thing of what's going on right now is Todd Haley's at the front of the organization. He shouldn't be. Where's Clark Hunt? Where is Scott Pioli? And Todd Haley, you look in these press conferences and you just look. I mean, it's taking its toll on him. And whether or not he'll be the coach next year, we're going to debate over the next couple of weeks. But right now, he's the face of the organization. He's also the man responsible, and he's not getting the job done. Whether that's because ownership isn't spending the money, whether general manager isn't making better decisions with personnel, whether Todd Haley's not being a good offensive coordinator, or head coach, quarterbacks coach, and the coaches aren't reaching the players, something's missing. And in order for them to rebuild this franchise, they're going to have to make some more difficult decisions, I think. And again, we'll talk about those the next couple of weeks. And it's kind of something that Jack Harry and I touch on our segment. It's going to be on Sunday night, NBC Action News, 10 o'clock. Everybody must watch it because it's going to be must-see TV. But again, those things are all stuff that this organization is going to have to make some really hard decisions. And I think, Todd Haley is in a tough spot, especially, what we talked about before going on the show about potentially he flipped the bird to a fan who's sitting in the front row on the 40 or 45-yard line on the way out after he made a comment. Jack Harry had a thing on his Jack Smack that it's pretty entertaining, so definitely go see it. Now, whether or not that's true or not, whether or not it happened, whether or not Todd Haley addresses it or not remains to be seen. But the bottom line is that if you've got a head coach who's doing those kinds of things to the fans, especially on Fan Appreciation Day, especially on a game that's blacked out for the first time in 20 years, and when the head coach in the week says he doesn't really care if it's blacked out or not, I mean, it's not meshing well. And right now, this organization's a mess, and they're going to have to make a lot of changes, I think, to straighten it out.
So do you honestly feel that this team has quit on Todd Haley? All the cussing on the sidelines, all the vocal, do you feel this team quit on Todd Haley? I know I got to ask you because it's the tough questions, and Chiefs fans want to know online. Do you feel this Chiefs team has quit on Todd Haley? Yes or no?
I think some of the players have quit, and I hate to say that, and I think it's an awful thing to have to say as a fan. But you can watch. All you have to do is watch the film, and you can see guys not giving maximum effort. Now, whether or not they're upset with Haley or they're upset with their their coaching staff remains to be seen. I mean, you know what? As a player, these guys make a ton of money. I mean, the kind of money you and I would love to have just for a week, because in a week's pay of some of these guys, we could be out of debt for the rest of our lives. The issue is, where's the pride factor? Where's the forget talent level, forget ability, forget coaching, forget style, philosophy. Where are the individual guys stepping up and saying, I'm going to do something? There's nobody stepping up. There's not a player on defense. There's not a player on offense that's going to say, give me the ball, I want the ball, or I'm going to make a play, or a guy in special teams is going to say, I'm going to take one to the house. We don't have that here. And you look at Harrison, backup running back. Breaks Jim Brown's single game rushing record. He had 300 yards coming in for the whole season. Again, that shouldn't happen against any football team, let alone the Chiefs in their own house. So, again, something's missing. They're not clicking anywhere. I don't think the organization really has a plan. Todd Haley came in late. There wasn't a lot out there for the coaching staff. There was slim pickings to bring guys in. He brought a lot of Arizona Cardinal cast-offs with him. They haven't done the job. They carried some over from Herm Edwards' staff, which I think was a mistake. Again, all these things we can analyze, and we'll have plenty of time to do it in the offseason, because I think if the Chiefs make a move, it'll be swift. But to answer your question, I think some of the players have quit. I think some of them are playing for their final paychecks. Some of them want out of town. Larry Johnson figured out a way how to get out of town. He said the magic word, and he's gone. I think Brian Waters, Derek Johnson, maybe Jared Page, guys like that, are going to probably want out as well. So this is anything but set. And if they aren't smart in the next, the first 2 weeks in January, making some serious decisions for this organization, we could be having these conversations 2 and 3 years from now. Because if they give Haley another year, let's just assume they do, and he fails, they're going to be set back another 2 years. Clark Hunt spent $125 to $150 million of his own money for the new Arrowhead, and honestly, at the end of the day, I don't really care about bigger restrooms or wider concourses or more expensive food or higher tickets and all that stuff. The Chiefs fans will come if there's a product on the field, and right now there's not a product on the field worthy to spend money on. It's just that simple.
All right, and this Sunday night with Jack Carey, when will we see you?
Sunday night, sports comes on probably somewhere between 10:20 and 10:40, but we taped a segment, and we just kind of lay everything out, kind of stuff we talked about today. We go a little bit more, kind of what I think this organization has to do to be a legitimate playoff team in the years to come. So we have a great time. Jack and I spent 5 years together on 38th The Spot, had a great time, and he invited me out before the holidays, so I decided to go down there, and we recorded it, and it'll be up Sunday night. It'll be great stuff.
Check out NBC 41 this Sunday night between 10:20 and 10:40, immediately following Sunday night's football game on NBC. You heard it here first from Chief Insider Nick Athan. Once again, I'm Shane Williams with Warpaint TV. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody.